If everything falls apart, I'm not sure what's gonna happen. Here goes nothing. Hey, we're good. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to another stream. My name, of course, is Alma Hexblade, your head guildmaster and chief barista. Hello, everybody. I think I'm a little bit big. Hold on. There we go. That's better. Happy Friday. You made it to another end of the week. I'm proud of you personally. You should be proud of yourselves as well. And of course, we're going to be doing our usual Finding Out Friday a little bit late because I was sleepy and slept in a little bit more than I should have for the nap. So, my bad. We're back on track though, so it's all good. You don't need to yeah. Anyway. Oh, also another thing, which you guys probably have noticed, is that if you are a subscriber, we get new emotes. I got new emotes from artist Kaiku. Look how good they are. Please use them. They're very good. I love them so much. If you need to, yeah. If you need to express yourselves, feel free to. I moved a lot of stuff around, so hopefully it should be all good now. All right. So what was on the topics for today? What was it? A lake full of skeletons, monorails, silly bands, public domain, spiders, helicopters, and much more. I will give people a warning for the spiders. I know that people do have arachnophobia, so I'll let them know. But okay. So let's see here. Let me just grab one of the first things. Oh, I didn't even notice this one earlier. The first one for today is about flying, like airplanes. Oh, hold on. We don't need the input overlay. We don't need that. Why am I always off to the side? I'm never in the center. Ah, there we go. All right. Let's get started. This video is from Philip Edwards, and it's titled, what was it? Why Flying Stopped Being Glamorous. I can imagine various reasons why, but I'm very curious. Because old flying used to be cool. And now flying is annoying. Jess, thank you for the subscription. Enjoy your emotes, your sword and shield and hat, and go out there and save the world and do nice things. Hey, thank you. Alright, also 3 months. Yo, nice. Okay, let's get this started. Hopefully this will work, or... Oh, wait, hold on. I think I know it's not showing something, and I know why. There we go. Fuck around and almost come to find out. Yeah, I was not fucking around. I was doing my job. I was doing work. Plane. Yes. We're learning about planes. Oh, son of a gun. The audio's not working. Hold on. I know why the audio isn't working, and I'm going to fix why the audio isn't working. I think this is the button. That's not the button. Oh, I have it muted. I'm stupid. Try that again.
This is an airplane. Now let's talk about playing Pong in the pub.
Pong?
That's right. These happy people were playing Pong at a table on a plane, and guess what? The pub was in coach. First class got a buffet. Where did we go wrong?
Buffet.
This is on a wide body. DC-10. But in the late 60s and 70s, huge planes like this and the 747 were at war for which could be the most awesome. They had spacious seating, amazing food, huge lounges, pubs, and yes, a piano bar. A piano bar on a plane in coach. Coach! Did I mention that the little people in coach got a piano bar.
Only one airline has the piano bar.
Today,
What kind of
well,
advertising is that?
you squeeze into a seat that you are stuck in the entire time. You can barely move forward or backward. You get hardly anything to eat or drink, and you're stuck next to these people. Now look at this guy.
Yeah.
His worst problem
I wanna go
is that
to the
his friends
piano
were
bar.
eating his popcorn. And guess what? He got more popcorn. What went wrong? This is not just a story about declining standards in airline comfort.
Capitalism?
It's a story about the bigger history of the airline
Is it
industry.
capitalism?
And it might make you think twice about whether glamorous flight is a good thing.
Alternatively, safety. Imagine a plane
Yes,
like
I made the airplane a baby. I know,
Why?
I know. You want to spend your time looking at the most epic
Why?
coach lounge in history, and we will get there, I promise. But I think that
kinda
this
tiny,
metaphor
honestly.
and the
I'd be
early
worried
history
about
of the
standing up
airline
in that.
industry is necessary to understand how those coach lounges happened. In 1938, the Civil Aeronautics Board was formed. It basically regulated the airline business for about 40 years.
I mean,
Notice the
advantage-
business part of that sentence. Initially, they did safety stuff
Yeah,
too,
but
and they
it
set
has
the
to be more.
location of
The story has
National
to be more
Airport,
than
But the key thing to
emissions.
note here is
you
that
know?
the airline business was in its infancy.
Caused a
They
problem
wanted to
being the same
coddle
as they
that
tell you.
business. Remember, this is after the collapse of a ton of businesses in the Great Depression. They worried that the airline industry was too fragile, too delicate to stand up to really intense competition.
Like,
So the CAB, they
train.
set up like crib walls. They controlled the airlines, the fares, the routes, and they even gave some subsidies. Let's imagine the Douglas DC-3 as the baby plane. That was an important plane at the time. It's small, it's kind of shaky, it's like a toddler, and it probably did need to be protected. Then we go from the 30s and 40s to the 50s and 60s. Jet travel changed the game, especially in capacity. Now there were 180 passengers in the Boeing 707. Okay, can we put an asterisk up here for the plane people? Great. I'm generalizing a lot here when it comes to specific planes, trying to give people an overall arc of how things worked. But there's a lot more that you can dig into here, that's for sure. All right, get that. Anyway, suddenly, our little baby was not all grown up, but he was bigger.
it's wearing a
The
Bronx
CAB was still really tightly controlling the market. The results? Higher prices and those lowered passenger numbers. I want you to look at this. I read one paper that noted that the target load factor in 1962 was just above 50% capacity. Look at how low it is here. The CAB actually wanted half-empty planes. Now we get to the late 60s, and airplanes are they're huge, okay? They're huge.
big
This
plane.
Boeing 747, these planes are very large. Airplanes, they're having a growth spurt. Except to the CAB, the airline industry is still just its little baby. They want to keep it regulated.
Small bet.
Airlines have to go through a very lengthy process to add new seats or to change routes and definitely to lower prices. If you did want to change prices, there were huge debates about it. Like this one that's printed in a 1973 Federal Register. It's lengthy and prohibitive and bizarre to modern eyes that have been trained on kayak searches. The airline industry had become a teenager with a strict curfew and no cell phone and no money to buy those Abercrombie & Fitch cargo pants that would make everything okay. If he could just get the cargo pants, then he would kind of fit into the social scene. You act out in the ways that you can.
Okay,
You
this guy's
dye your
humor,
hair green.
I'm okay with
You
that.
focus on the things you can control. The marketing. The first airline
Wild
lounges
marketing,
were
oh my
opening in
God.
the 1930s to reward customer loyalty. I mean, just look at the seats. Airlines couldn't make up costs by adding
cargo
more
pants.
seats without CAB
Now you very
approval.
seem to
So
type to be
seats
wearing
were
cargo
pretty
pants, not
wide and
gonna
had
lie.
a lot of space between them. Seat pitch is this measurement.
I
that
mean
tells you
that
the difference
almost
between the same point,
derogatorily.
on two different airplane seats.
You seem the type to
Today's
have a lot
average
of
seat
stuff.
pitch is
I had cargo
30 to
exactly.
31 inches.
So it's not
Here are
derogatory.
some
You did wear
United
cargo
numbers
shorts.
from their seats in 1979. 36 inches minimum. But the most striking example of service marketing was the lounges. These people right here, they're gonna conceive a child in about 20 minutes. When these huge planes launched, there was a slightly weaker US economy and mini recession in 1969-1970. That meant even more excess capacity or extra seats. But if the CAB is keeping you locked in your room, you can't lower prices to fill all those unused seats. What do? Well, you just double down on service marketing once again. You start what becomes known as the lounge wars. You replace the seats with more service, with epic lounges. Continental had their pub, Boeing mocked up a Tiger Lounge below deck, and, oh yeah, American had a piano bar.
The Tiger Lounge looks so gaudy.
Sully. I mean, look at this article. If you wanted to get rid of your lounge and charge slightly lower prices, it made the news and involved a ton of debate. All of these comforts of flying, the things that made flying glamorous, they were a way to stand out when you couldn't stand out on the most important thing.
I don't know how to play piano.
We'll show you.
We'll show you why this Continental wide-body DC-10 is more fun.
Okay, so what changed flying from glamorous to torturous? Well, the CAB did a big investigation, and over time everyone started thinking that regulation was increasing prices by a lot. After some tweaking at the margins, the Airline Deregulation Act of 1978 started down the road of dismantling the CAB over the next 5 or so years.
Okay.
It was led by Alfred Kahn, who believed airline travel
is it Reagan?
should basically move out of the house.
Let's
This
see what happens.
regulation is a unique political thing too, because it's all happening during the Carter administration, and it's basically led by liberal Senator Ted Kennedy. And it goes through.
We were close.
They deregulate the airline industry. And that is why flying isn't glamorous anymore. Local and international low-cost carriers had already seen some success because they weren't regulated by the CAB. They had lower prices and cut back on service. Now all the airlines could do that. Now, a lot of things happened as a result of this. One big thing.
Okay,
is
so
that a
it
lot of
wasn't the
carriers
Reagan
switched
administration,
to
it
a
was the
hub
Carter
and spoke
administration.
model to add more destinations. But more importantly, for our glamour of flight topic, they started adding way more seats and lowering prices. Check out this American Airlines seat map from 1977 against this one from 1983. Goodbye upper deck lounge, goodbye sky dining, goodbye
Dining
seat
in the
gaps.
sky.
When economic competition mattered, service competition went down the drain. The glorious lounges you can still find today are largely on international flights that aren't really competing on price. I think this matters because rarely do we get
Air
so
Emirates,
stark
though,
an
I'm pretty sure is, like,
example of our
stupid expensive,
preference
isn't
for
it?
low prices.
It's like... I just want you to mention, this was probably when smoking on airplanes was still like a thing. Look at all the carpet here. It's all yellow, bright orange carpet in like tiger print. Imagine having to clean this up. Like, yeah, I was like, they probably smoked. Don't, like, think about it. They probably smoked here. This is nothing but carpet. It's probably smelled like smoke and whiskey and like booze and like, I'll tell you, these carpets are orange, but I don't think they're gonna stay orange for very long. I'm kind of almost glad they got rid of them. Kind of gross. Or I mean, orange is a good color. Look at me. But like,
I think that this is a question that has a lot
Children
of
growing up
complicated
in the
trade-offs.
70s probably thought
Lots
tigers
of
smelled like
negatives flow
cigarettes.
from deregulation.
The zoo probably smelled like cigarettes too. Let's be real.
However, prices really did come down. Like in most sectors, the
Here's
relationship
cute, almost
between
orange and
price
nasty
and
70s
glamour
orange. Correct.
is a direct one. Today, load factor, capacity, it looks like this. Here's the earlier chart next to it. You can see the difference. There are more flights now and way more people flying. Look at this chart. It's by a lobbying group, but the point is clear that prices have generally gone down. Is that a good thing? Well, I think it's a matter of preference. All I know is that this story is not just one of changing tastes.
Me thinking about
It's
Spirit
a story
Airlines.
that gets at how we want the government and private businesses to interact and what comes from it.
Thinking about my cheap
And
Spirit
the
Airlines
fact
flight
is
for,
that
for
the glamour of
FanFest.
flying, or lack of glamour, the availability of Pong on your airplane flight, it is a deeply political question. And there is no such thing as free popcorn.
That was sad.
All right, that's it for this one. Thank you for watching. If you haven't been here before, this is a personal channel where I post personal videos, history videos, stuff like that. I've got a lot of links down in the description to various papers I read on this. And there's a lot of websites.
That's
out
a
there, too.
sub.
I mean, plain
Sure.
stuff is something where you can always go way, 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 way deeper. So, again, apologies to the plain obsessives out there. I know there's a lot more, but I just wanted to cover this topic of the.
Give me a
glamour of
sec. I'm just
flying.
loading
It's
up more
on a
videos.
flight. It was
Or
not pleasant.
trying to find the
so I'm
more
curious
videos.
what
Okay.
you all think in the comments about.
All right. Next one. No free popcorn? Yeah. Next one. This one's a mystery. A murder mystery. Well, not a murder mystery, but also just a mystery. I mean, the title of the video is right there. Why is this remote lake... why is this remote lake full of hundreds of skeletons? Let's find out. Let's learn about the spooky skeletons.
This video is kindly sponsored by Manscaped. Find out more
Did I
later
post
in the
this?
video. 42 here. In a remote
I posted
part
this
of
one.
northern India, on the edge of the world's highest mountain range, a tiny lake lies tucked away in a glacial valley. Just 40 meters across and no more than 3 deep, it isn't all that much to look at as far as lakes go. At least not unless you take the time to amble
Is this
to
the one
its
where
very
everyone got
edge
lunar?
and peer
No
beneath the
spoilers.
eerily still, crystal clear water. Because just beneath its surface, this seemingly unremarkable Himalayan lake hides human skeletons. Hundreds of them. The skeletons of Rupkund Lake, as it's known, were first discovered in 1942 by a forest ranger working for the British.
Everyone knows
who
about
still
this,
ruled
though?
in India at the time. It must have
Who
been
is your
a
version of
chilling
everybody? I would like to know them.
experience,
They seem
stumbling
neat.
across thousands of human bones strewn in and around a nondescript lake out there in the middle of nowhere, more than 5,000 meters above sea level. But once the ranger and the British authorities who employed him got over their shock, they were left facing a simple question. How the hell did all those skeletons get there in the first place? Since April is National Testicular Cancer Awareness Month, I just want to take a moment to talk about how important men's health issues are.
I leave
Did you
this
know
here because at least
one
the
man
ad isn't
every
bad.
hour, every day, is diagnosed with testicular cancer? You may think testicular cancer is something that only happens to other men. But I, like many others, have a personal connection to someone who struggled with this terrible disease. And I firmly
Check your
believe it's not
boards,
something
y'all.
we should feel embarrassed about, but discuss openly. Because the more we do so, the more we can all encourage men like you and I to take important preventative measures. Now, if you followed my channel for a while,
I'm not a
you'll
man,
know
but I
that
appreciate
I'm a
that.
big fan of Manscaped and their Performance Package Kit, the all-in-one grooming collection for the modern man. Not only do Manscaped provide the right tools for the job for safe and easy manscaping, such as the lawnmower with skin-safe technology, they've also now partnered with the Testicular Cancer Society in order to spread awareness for men's health and early cancer detection. And you can perform simple, routine self-checks at
Every
home.
hour.
Whilst enjoying Manscaped products you use
Your
every
medical
day,
bills are
like
are
their
incredibly
ball deodorant
expensive.
and ball toner. Giving yourself a regular check and Manscaped go hand in hand, literally. Visit manscaped.com/TCS to learn how to check yourself for early signs of cancer, or share their funny, educational check yourself video to help save lives and balls. As always, you can use my code 42 for 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com.
I mean, no
Join the Manscaped.
I mean, no cap. I usually leave the good ads in because of actual awareness of an important issue than just like I'm skipping this ad because it's annoying.
Movement, and don't forget to take care of your pair. It's time to
Anyway,
get the deer
dead
stalkers
bodies,
out
full
because
skeletons.
We're in for a spot of archaeological detective work.
Dead
First, let's consider the
dead
evidence.
bodies and skeletons.
We have a
All right.
remote mountain lake concealing a large number of skeletons. Upper estimates suggest as many as 800. The bones are scattered far and wide around the scene, and some have soft tissues and hair still attached, suggesting whatever
Get the
killed these
Danganronpa music
people
going.
might have been relatively recent. Of the bones studied, some of the skulls exhibit a strange, shallow groove across the top of the forehead, as if the bones had been worn away, whilst others show more severe damage in the form of fractures that appear to have been caused by blunt force trauma from some kind of large, round object striking directly from above. So, any ideas what might have happened here? Well, combine a whole lot of dead people in one place with evidence of serious injuries, and a reasonable place to start would be to assume these were soldiers of some kind. Unsurprisingly, the British considered that very same possibility when the skeletons were first
All
found.
of them got
This was
bonked
the
for
middle
being
of the
horny and
Second
died.
World War, and it had long been
You get
feared
bonked too
the
hard enough?
Japanese
Okay.
might try
Yeah, that's what I thought you were gonna say.
India through the mountains to the north, leading British authorities to wonder whether the bodies belonged to some kind of elite strike force at the sharp end of a full-scale land invasion. But closer examination of the bones showed this explanation couldn't have been correct. Whilst the skeletons looked relatively fresh at first glance thanks to the appearance of soft tissues and hair, radiocarbon dating analysis suggested the bones were in fact at least 500 years old, with any flesh remaining having been naturally preserved by the frigid temperatures and bone-dry atmosphere of the Himalayan peaks.
You said
As
bone.
you'll know if you've watched my recent video on the mummies of Sicily and the corpse that blinks, dear old mummy nature has a bit of a mummification fetish. So, if not Japanese
that concept.
soldiers, who were these people? And how did so many of them end up in Rupkund Lake? The truth was, nobody knew for sure, though there were plenty of theories floating around. Mass suicide, an ancient battle, a mass grave from some forgotten epidemic, or simply the victims of exposure to the harsh mountain conditions. For more than 50 years, nobody was able to provide convincing evidence to either prove or disprove these various theories. But that changed in the early 2000s when a research team from National Geographic visited Rupkund Lake to study the remains more closely. Their findings quickly ruled out many of the earlier theories. Despite those strange skull fractures that appeared to have been caused by some kind of blunt object, the skeletons showed no other signs of the kinds of wounds you'd expect to see from a battle, so that theory was out. In fact, it seemed extremely unlikely these people could have been soldiers at all, because there were many women and children amongst the dead, and only a
I'd like
single
to ask
weapon
where
was
this
ever
ends, where they
found
just
at the
ask a
site.
local to find out.
Iron spearhead. Instead of tools of war, the National Geographic team recovered artifacts including
They've been
bangles,
studying this for years, and then they asked
wooden
the locals, and they're
parasols,
like, "Oh yeah, no,
and
we know
leather
about that."
slippers. And I don't ever remember reading about the Great Leather Slipper Skirmish. The epidemic theory seemed equally unlikely because analysis of the bones suggested their owners were in perfectly good health before they died. Exposure was possible. The shifting weather conditions and extreme altitude of the Himalayas makes them a dangerous place, even with today's modern equipment. But that didn't explain the skull fractures that seemed to point to a more violent death.
Bonk.
And they were not of the self-inflicted variety, as would have been the case had this been the site of a mass suicide. Another question that remained unanswered was what so many people were doing 5,000 meters up in the mountains in the first place. Rupkund Lake is a good 5 days hike from human habitation, and whilst it's popular with trekkers today, that's mostly because it's full of hundreds of skeletons.
Nice day looking for
What
some
exactly
bones.
the owners of those skeletons were doing up there was, at least at first, unclear. But it turned out there was a pretty good reason for lots of people to be wandering around in that exact spot, high up in the Himalayas. The Nanda Devi Raj Jat, perhaps the longest and most dangerous pilgrimage in India.
I mean, I
which
could use a new
just
set of
so
I know,
happens to
right? Let's go
pass
to the
right
bone
by
pile and pick out some new
Rupkund
bones for
Lake.
everybody. It's a shopping
All
trip.
of a sudden, pieces of the puzzle began slotting into place. Pilgrims on the Nanda Devi Raj Jat are known to carry bangles and parasols similar to those recovered at the lake. And large groups are often accompanied by porters carrying heavy loads using a tump line, a strap that goes across the forehead. Prolonged use of tump lines has been shown to cause groovings in the skull, just like those found on some of the Rupkund Lake remains. The pilgrimage hypothesis was suddenly looking very good, but it only explained why these people were in the mountains in the first place, not what killed them. So, any ideas? We have hundreds of dead pilgrims in a mountain lake who appear to have died thanks to blunt force trauma caused by some kind of rounded object. But those wounds are only found on the tops of the victims' skulls, and there are no other signs of injury or illness. It's a bit like a Jonathan Creek India special, isn't it? Anyway, the conclusion that Nat Geo researchers came to was kind of ingenious, and if you've worked it out by now, congratulations, you're kind of ingenious too. If you still aren't sure, perhaps these final 2 clues will help. First, this particular region of the Himalayas is known for its extreme weather. And second, Rupkund Lake is in a very exposed spot, free from trees or any kind of high vegetation that could provide shelter if you happen to need it in a hurry. That's right.
They got
Our
weathered.
poor pilgrims were caught in a giant hailstorm of biblical proportions, in which cricket ball-sized solid ice battered them to death in their hundreds. And, remarkably, it seems that a local legend, retold through song, might be a kind of folk memory, preserving the history of that very same event.
Hey, Jess, didn't you wonder when they were asking the locals?
Told by locals to this day to explain the mystery of the lake. Nanda Devi, a manifestation of the goddess Parvati, was treated poorly by the king and queen of a land she visited long ago. So she cursed their entire country, turning the milk sour and infesting their rice stores with maggots. By way of apology, the king and queen embarked on a pilgrimage in honor of the goddess, but it seems the king was worried this little mountain jaunt was going to be kind of boring, because he brought along some entertainment in the form of dancing girls and concubines, the ancient Indian version of boats and hoes. Unsurprisingly, Nanda Devi wasn't best pleased with this show of impudence, and so, according to the story, she struck the pilgrims down with hailstones, hard as iron, as they crossed a ridge high above Lake Rupkund.
Oh, there it is.
The story is an incredible fit with the evidence gathered by the National Geographic team, and it's believed the legend probably grew out of tales told by survivors of the real-life tragedy centuries ago. So,
The goddess did
there
it.
you have
Yeah,
it.
problem
The
solved.
strange case of the skeletons in the lake had finally been solved, once and for all. Or at least that's what people thought. That's right, it's plot twist time.
Part 2.
You see, in 2019, another research team made a trek up to Rupkund Lake to carry out further analysis on the bones. They took samples from 39 different skeletons and sent them to labs around the world to be tested. What these tests uncovered changed almost everything we thought we knew about what happened at Rupkund. I mentioned earlier that radiocarbon dating had estimated the bones were at least 500 years old. But that first analysis was carried out in 1956, when radiocarbon dating as a technology was still in its infancy. It had been invented just 10 years prior. With the technique long since perfected, the 2019 study was able to date the bones far more accurately, and what they found blew the whole single catastrophic hailstorm theory right out of the water. For the hailstorm hypothesis to hold true, all the bones should have been exactly the same age, but they weren't. Not even close. The oldest bones in the lake were more than 1,000 years older than the most recent ones.
Bones.
And things only got weirder from there. Analysis reveals the
Jess, you're so
existence of
smart.
two main
You're figuring this out
groups
beforehand?
amongst the dead. The first,
Incredibly
making up
smart.
the older remains and dating back to around 800 AD, were of South Asian origin. Which makes sense, Rupkund Lake is in the south of Asia, after all. But the second group, dating to the 19th century, seemed to be made up of individuals from the East Mediterranean, possibly Crete. It was a baffling discovery, but at first the researchers were optimistic its very weirdness would help them shed some light on the whole strange mystery.
Rose, would they
After
go
all,
that
the
far
large
for
group
a
of people
femboy
from
Hooters?
the
I wouldn't go that far for
Mediterranean
femboy
missing in the
Hooters.
Himalayas in the last
I'd rather just
couple
I'd
years.
rather just take like the
There
MILF
should be
Denny's and
some
be
record of it,
good with it.
right?
Or the Goth
Bunch of
IHOP, you
people
know?
from another continent showing up in a remote part of the Himalayas would have been big news in those days.
There wasn't a lot to
especially
do
if
1,000
all
years
suddenly
ago, so they decided,
disappeared.
hey, let's go to the femboy Hooters.
But
I mean,
despite extensive
they had
efforts to
concubines, they
find
didn't need that.
information about such a group in either historical records or by speaking to locals living in the villages dotted around Rupkund, there was nothing.
They asked the locals, and they didn't find anything this time. Oh no.
Just nothing. To say this new information muddied the
skeleton!
infested waters would be a major understatement. Considering the diversity of the people themselves and the times they died, it's pretty much impossible to come up with a single, neat solution that explains all the evidence. It still seems reasonable to believe some were killed in a catastrophic hailstorm. There are those head injuries, after all, and the matching folk story. But with the far more accurate dates now available to us, it seems even the older bones show signs of having been deposited across 3 or 4 different events, suggesting there's way more to this story. One giant hailstorm killing a large group of people is plausible. 4 in the space of a few hundred years in exactly the same spot isn't. As for the bones of the Mediterraneans, that one is genuinely a total mystery. It seems unlikely they were on a Hindu pilgrimage, and no trade routes have ever passed through the area. Tourism did exist in those days, of course, but it was very different from the version we're all familiar with before it went extinct last year, and it's hard to imagine a large group of people from so far
Lunar
away
put them there for
travel
giggles,
to a
yeah.
remote corner of India just for a lark. The fact there's no record of the group is even more bizarre. However the Mediterraneans got to the lake, a few researchers have suggested practitioners of Thuggee might have been responsible for
Thuggee.
ensuring they never left. Thuggee was essentially ritual robbery and murder carried out in India in colonial times by roaming gangs of so-called thugs. That's where we get the English word from, by the
Ooh.
way. According to stories,
Etymology lesson.
thugs were pretty bad dudes who would join groups of travelers to gain their confidence before killing them and robbing their corpses. The large numbers of dead and relative lack of valuables recovered from Rupkund makes this an interesting theory. But there is a slight stumbling block. There are just no tangible connections between the Thuggee gangs and the skeletons in the Rupkund Lake. For now, we're back where we were.
I
when
keep
these bones
hearing
were first discovered.
Funky or
Plenty
instead of
people coming
thuggy.
up with theories as to what might have happened, but none of them quite seem to fit the evidence.
Something like a lamp
And
or like
that's
coal?
unlikely to change, at least not until
Oh,
further
that's neat.
research is carried out. Until then, the real reason 800 human beings lie beneath the icy waters of a mountain lake in a remote part of the Himalayas remains a truly excellent mystery.
A game
Thanks for
theory.
watching.
I said that too early. That he said that he finished it. Shoot. Okay. Here's my thought. Maybe originally it was Thuggies. And then everybody's like, hey, you want to see the cool skeletons over there? And then they kept doing it. Quite possible they ran out of a kingdom that's not an uncommon. Yeah, but still, like, that doesn't explain the Mediterraneans. That's like the weird. That's the weirder part. I'm like, where did these guys come from? Like, literally, where did they come from? Oh, actually, speaking about bones, I started saying bones, and it made me think about something. I'm just gonna play this, and then without context, and just move on. Because this is just stuck in my head right now. Nothing explicit.
Bones. 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 What are they? She has them. He has them. This thing?
Too many.
Bad
Bad to eat.
This? It might have them. We just don't know. Bones are mysterious like that. What's this big bone? Is it from a very big person? Scientists are working night and day to find the answer. Bones are also spooky. They are a scaffolding for our meat, and they should never, ever be outside of us. If yours ever are, don't hesitate to call your local fire department. Bones. Here's a fun experiment you can do at home. Pull on a wishbone with a friend or a loved one. When it breaks, whoever gets the bigger piece gets to make a wish. I would suggest wishing for knowledge about bones. You can then drop off your findings
At your local Bones chapter.
With your help, perhaps we can uncover the mystery of what these dumb things really are.
Bones. Oh, look around you. I did.
What's the...
Oh, shoot. They even did an episode on calcium. Hold on, wait. That was a bona fide good... Yeah, it was... Look at the text. It was just bones in double spaced. This is 100% exactly like the acid trip inducing 90s biology videos we used to watch in class. I loved it. Nobody's appreciating if the bones are outside your body. Call your local fire department. Also, yeah, also a good one was bones. They are a scaffolding for our meat. Very important information about bones. Hold on, let me copy paste one of these. So that, you know what? Let's just watch one episode. I'm sure we're not going to get in trouble with the BBC, right? Right? This is a good comedy video, by the way. I've not seen... let's forward ahead. There we go. Learning. Are you guys ready to learn more? Go to 10. Run. Yay! Yay!
Look around you.
I'm looking around me.
Look around you.
I am, but... Huh? Hold up. That's not how that one works.
Just look around you.
I look behind you. Look inside yourself. Look outside. I'm on a horse. What the fuck?
Now
Wait,
take a closer look.
No, I want to look at the fire juggler. No, let me see the fire juggler.
That's what we're looking for.
Hey, demons. It's me.
The answer
Yeah, boy.
is calcium.
Bones. Okay.
This program, Calcium, follows last week's model and will complete
Unknown
the
solid.
book, which accompanies this series. Please ensure that you have your copybook at hand, as you'll be asked to take down notes from the screen at various points throughout the program.
You guys got your note paper out and pencils? Do you need to borrow a pencil?
Calcium.
They're up at the
You
front
know it as
desk.
Ginny or Ninny or Peter's peg. But whatever you call it, calcium, valency 1, atomic weight 44, is one of the most important elements known to mankind.
I might not
As we
need
have
to...
seen, calcium occurs naturally within the tooth. Thus, man's very existence is inextricably linked to the white element. Without calcium, man would be unable to process foods
Some sort of obvious kids.
and would starve.
Aw. He's dead. He couldn't eat the
In
sandwich.
this program, we will attempt to show the many uses of calcium, as well as a number of experiments. Experiment 1. An experiment was carried out to ascertain whether calcium is soluble in water. First, a quantity of calcium was obtained.
Oh no. Oh. I'm gonna be worried now.
Using a mortar and pestle, the calcium is then ground into a fine dust.
You aren't. Do that harder, dude. You aren't. This man is superpowers. How is this bone dust?
Chalky dust is poured into a beaker.
Teeth, 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 teeth. Teeth, teeth, teeth,
The
teeth.
beaker is placed under
Teeth, 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 teeth.
You can use distilled water, but be aware of the cost.
It costs more.
The calcium water mixture is agitated using a glass rod or pencil.
Don't use a pencil.
It is then allowed to settle for a while.
Only 9 pencils. I went to get a cup of coffee and been back. Welcome back. We're learning. I don't think we're learning.
So, is calcium soluble? Look closely before making your decision.
No.
Have you observed the chalky deposit at the base of the beaker? If you have, then you'll have reached the conclusion that no, calcium is insoluble.
That's so great to know.
There is a reason for this. Can you work out what it is? Correct. If calcium were soluble, then our teeth would be open to corrosion through daily contact with saliva. Again, man would be unable to process foods
And die.
and would starve. Here is a model of a calcium molecule.
That's not.
Recognize the triple helix? If you do,
What?
write it down.
That's not. That's not.
Calcium molecule is built on a semi-permanent structure of 4 electrons.
That is not.
Protons. The protons feed electrical information to the core of the molecule, where we find the central atom, or queen atom. Were the queen atom to leave the molecule, or nest, the effects would be disastrous.
Wait.
The entire structure would come tumbling down. This is known as the Helvetica scenario. Luckily, Helvetica is a very, very rare occurrence.
He doesn't. Oh, that's so bad.
The Staffordshire Downs. 200 square miles of rolling countryside.
Oh, hey, look, cows.
And it's here, amongst the jewel of the Northwest, that we can observe calcium in action.
Calcium in action.
Holdwick Park Refinery has been producing industrial-strength calcium for over 20 years. Chances are, if you've ever
Calcium!
or peered through a calcium lens, they've probably come from Holdwick.
Oh my god, it's calcium.
Let's step inside.
Oh.
Have your copybooks ready.
What?
Every day, 6 tons of discarded teeth and bones are brought to Holdwick
Discarded?
from the various calcic drop-off points around Great Britain.
What?
You may have seen one in your town or village.
You just.
Because calcium perspires, by the time it reaches Holdwick, there's a lot of water to be removed. The teeth and bones...
This is the tooth? No, this is what the tooth...
canisters, and any excess runoff is filtered away.
This is the industrial tooth fairy, guys. This is what the
Dry
tooth fairy does.
calcium is then pumped along these pipes. When it reaches this trough, a kind of glorified Besselheim, it's bombarded
A what?
with millions upon millions of cesium atoms.
Goliath, hello! Welcome, welcome, welcome! Make sure you guys take a seat. We're watching a video about calcium that's definitely not weird and is totally normal. Feel free to take a seat.
From 6
We're learning.
tons of raw material and nearly 900 man-hours later, here are the results.
What is that?
Some 12 ounces of pure industrial calcium.
What is... Why is it jiggling?
This is then stored in an underground lead chamber to prevent the possibility of Helvetica.
Oh no! Oh, they're using the footage again, no!
Now let's take
Okay.
a look at some of the ways in which calcium is used. Have your pen and paper ready.
You have your pen and paper ready?
Calcium can be used to make powerful adhesives.
What? What are you putting on your skin, my dude? Oh, okay, cool.
It's also
Power.
used as a strengthening agent
Powerful.
in bridges,
In bridges.
windows,
Okay.
and was pivotal in the development of Imsumul Bharati Lan.
What?
Calcium also occurs
What?
naturally in liquid form.
Okay, here we
We
go.
all know it as milk.
Milk.
In the Jewish religion, it is forbidden to eat milk and meat at the same meal. Foods that contain
What?
dairy products are referred to as milchig. Milchig. Write that in your copybook now.
Can any Jewish person in chat confirm this? Please. I need to know where the dumb part is. What is this? Oh, this is a good out of context screenshot. Give me a second. Oh god. What is going on? What's happening?
Experiment 2.
Milkig with the spelling influence of German. Milkig. So it's just the word milky. It actually is. Oh, wow. That was actually Yiddish. I can't believe this.
An experiment was carried out to determine whether calcium is a conductor of electricity.
Okay.
First, a simple electrical circuit is constructed.
Write your hypotheses in your copybooks,
The
everybody.
terminal of a 9-volt battery is connected to one end of a Besselheim plate.
A what?
The other end of the Besselheim is connected via an electrical lamp to the positive terminal.
Okay.
Now for the calcium.
Wait, I just realized that that's wrong because it should be going the other way. Oh my god, this video has jokes. Oh my god, You could print a Fenselheim blade on... Why? Also, the coin's still there on his hand.
Quantity is gently poured into the Besselheim, making sure that it forms an unbroken line between the negative and positive end of the Besselheim.
There's no...
If calcium conducts electricity, the circuit will become complete and the lamp will light. Sadly, the lamp does not light.
No, it doesn't.
From the results of this experiment, we can conclude that
It comes from
calcium
don't boil a
does
calf in
not
its mother's milk
conduct
because the mixture
electricity.
in cows. You can't be sure, so they avoid it. I can't believe that's actually a
What
thing.
happens when we introduce some sodium chloride?
Doesn't calcium
You'll
conduct
recognize it
electricity
as
pretty well?
common salt.
I thought it was, I mean, it was a metal, so I'd assume yes. Also, please don't tell me pouring salt on this makes it
Let's
conduct.
take a look at the lamp now. The calcium
Are you
has
kidding me?
reacted with the sodium chloride to produce calcium chloride.
No!
Because calcium chloride is a conductor, the little lamp lights. Small quantities of Thomason's oil, segnomen, are also produced.
What? Hold up, what?
Little wonder that
No.
calcium chloride is used to power amplifiers for electric guitars.
What? Glad that busker.
When calcium is burned, calcium oxide is released as a vapor.
Cow.
Although not toxic, if inhaled, this vapor can cause temporary bodily paralysis. For centuries, magicians have been using calcium to simulate levitation. This principle can be demonstrated in the laboratory.
Oh.
Experiment 3.
Oh my god. We need to watch more of these.
Experiment was carried out to observe the effects of helium gas upon calcium.
Oh no.
A pyramid of powdered calcium is formed upon a work surface.
Okay. Maybe you'll watch.
An ordinary ping pong ball is placed carefully on top of the pyramid.
Okay.
Now we mark the midpoint. Then helium gas is released in the vicinity of the pyramid.
Does it explode?
As our starting pressure,
I'm trying to figure out what's gonna happen.
5 quarters per second.
What did you miss?
Observe the
You missed
reaction
bones.
And note the results down in your copybook.
Please tell me it lights on fire. Please tell me it lights on fire. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Powdered calcium has disappeared. Or has it? The calcium seems to have moved some 8 inches away from its original location. 8 inches. So, what's keeping the ping pong ball aloft? Surprisingly, the pyramid of powdered calcium is still there. Only its image has moved. This phenomenon is known as calcic image misplacement, or CIM.
What?
Turn off the helium supply, and the image of the pyramid of powdered calcium is reunited with the actual pyramid of powdered calcium. Now let's see what happens when we increase
Add
the
more.
calcium by a factor of 5 QPS.
Does it go further?
Fades as before.
The fuck do you read? Does it go 16 inches apart?
It reappears some 11.5 inches away.
Shoot.
11.5. Write that down.
Why? I just love to write that down, Vince. What the f-
Now, we
More.
try a factor
More.
of
More.
7.
More. Okay. The ruler doesn't go to 16.
This time, the image of the calcic pyramid appears over 500 miles away.
It's in New York. It's in New York City.
We've talked a lot about calcium, atomic weight 44. But what of its sister element? Calcium atomic weight 42, or intelligent calcium.
What?
Intelligent calcium is not intelligent.
Someone tell me what element 42 is right the hell now. Hold on. Atomic element 42. The hell's this? Molybdenum. Is this real? Am I being gaslit right now? What is happening? Is this a joke? How is this a thing? That's a real metal. Who in the world does anyone know what the hell this thing is for? I mean, it looks pretty, so there's that, but also, like, what? I feel like watching Look Around You is like to be indoctrinated by a cult, maybe? I feel like this educational video is gaslighting me.
Sense that you or I are intelligent. But
How is it intelligent?
in that it is sentient, i.e., it is aware of itself and its surroundings.
Sentient
In
calcium!
the laboratory, scientists are able to communicate with intelligent calcium using a REMS oscillating converter.
What?
The REMS measures tiny chemical impulses from within samples of intelligent calcium. Experiment 4.
Specifically.
An experiment was carried out
What?
to demonstrate the cognitive properties of intelligent calcium.
Wait. Oh my god.
The REMS is connected via its 2 thin probes to the sample of intelligent calcium.
Okay. Okay.
Once the microphone is in place, we turn on the REMS.
Does it translate what we're saying in the
Get
microphone?
ready to take down readings from the screen.
What's he gonna say?
The scientist issues interrogative statements to the intelligent calcium through the REMS, which measures its response.
Okay.
What is your atomic weight?
We're not gonna...
It can take a few moments for the sample to respond.
Processing. It's buffering. He's really
The
thinking...
scientist repeats the question.
Man's really thinking about it.
What is your atomic weight?
A.
There we are.
Oh, no.
F,
F.
O,
O.
R,
R.
T,
Y.
I,
Molybdenum is a trace dietary element used to make enzymes.
W,
Okay. Oh.
Oh.
42.
42.
Yay.
Where are you?
I
N, A,
in a
T, E,
T
S, T,
in a test tube.
U, B, E. In a test tube.
Wow, it's so smart.
How do you feel?
I want to know how the calcium feels.
COLD.
Aww.
Cold.
Give him a hug. Or put him under a burner.
When we deprive the intelligent calcium of oxygen.
Bro, no! It's sentient. It knows. Don't suffocate it. No! Give him air. This is a human rights violation. Give him air.
The
No!
calcium is completely neutralized.
No! They killed him!
Note that down in your copybook now.
Yo, they killed him! No! We didn't even know what his name was.
Over the course of this module, we've learned a lot about the nature, manufacture,
Look how they massacred
and
my
uses
boy.
of the white element. But remember, whether
Cal-
at home, in school, or just out,
I read that as calcum.
whatever you do, never give a gypsy calcium.
Well, that's mean.
Hand in your copybooks to your teacher or head of
They wrote it down in their notes.
In the next program, we will look at champagne.
What? Oh yeah, also, oh no, casual racism. Thanks, guys. I love this series. I just need to watch it for dumb reasons. But like it's so weird. I'm glad we watched that. Edgar Wright? Like, is it that Edgar Wright? Edgar Wright? Hold up.
In the laboratory, scientists are
Oh, it is Edgar. Series 2 episodes are 30 minutes long? Nice. Okay. Oh my god, good for him, I guess. Hold on. I need to know what he looks like now instead of looking like that, because he kind of looked handsome young. What's he look like now? Yo. I don't know. I think it looks good with the lab coat and glasses, honestly. Nice. Anyway. Okay. We're moving on from British education to American education. And let me actually load up some more of these videos because I did not get a lot of these. Oh my god, I actually had a educational video from almost the same era that we could have watched. Let me just load up a couple more videos here. Okay. We're gonna load these two, and let's go. Welcome back. We're gonna learn about American Christmas monorails. I don't know what those are. I feel like I'm too young to know that. Let's find out. About the grip on reality right now? Yes, it's a parody. It's a good parody. I was honestly, like, I felt gaslit when they were explaining the atom. Have we gotten to the spider video? No, we have a big backlog, guys.
For kids who grew up in the mid-20th century, few things in life were as exciting as the local department store at Christmas. Each year, these stores
See,
seem
some
to
of
outdo
them, they
themselves
throw
with the
real true
festivities.
stuff to catch you off. Yeah, no, that's why I'm
There
saying
were
it's like
toys of all
gaslighting.
kinds, as far as the eye could see.
BB gun.
The big man himself
put
was
your eye
waiting
out.
on his throne to meet you.
Santa.
And if you were lucky enough, Christmas time also meant a ride on the monorail. Just imagine flying over aisles of toys, wondering which ones might be under the tree on Christmas morning. Earlier this year, I came across two odd pieces of history. One was a Christmas monorail ride at a department store in
I
Portland,
feel like
Oregon.
preposition to trust yourself.
The other
Sick
appeared to
from
be the
early-
same ride,
Yeah.
but this one was in Atlanta, Georgia. So now this begged the question, how many more of these things were out there?
I didn't know that this was a
According to
thing,
a
but it looks
2002
cool.
article in the Portland Tribune, 26 of them had been built across the United States. After spending way too much time trying to track them all down, I've managed to identify 22 of them. So that's what we'll be looking at today.
Oh, this one has a face.
Where they were located, when they were in operation, and what ultimately happened to them.
Crimbus.
To start things off, we can say definitively that Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is where the story begins. In the Christmas season of 1946, Wanamaker's department store introduced the Rocket Express, a miniature monorail that would take kids on an aerial tour of the 8th floor toy department. The ride was an instant hit, and soon became one of Philadelphia's most iconic Christmas traditions. As one person later recalled, "The most amazing sight to me was the huge monorail that hung from the ceiling. I remember tugging my parents along, hurrying to buy tickets so I could ride that train. Looking down over all those toys and seeing the model trains in the glass-enclosed display case that seemed to take up half the floor. What a sight for a kid to see." Sometime in the 1950s,
It looks cool.
the ride was updated with a streamlined rocket nose.
Remember
Nearly
malls?
4 decades of operation, the ride was retired in 1984.
Don't let Tom Scott see this video.
Today it's preserved at the Please Touch Museum in Philadelphia.
Oh, it's a kids museum.
Another monorail opened in 1946 at the Sears and Roebuck department store in Chicago, Illinois.
Robux?
In this case, there's practically no information on it, but we do have this photo to prove it was there. A third
We have a
monorail
video.
debuted at Boston store in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
That's not in
This
Boston.
one ran above the toy department on the building's 7th floor.
Oh, it's literally called Boston
People
Store.
online
What the hell?
only seem to mention it being there in the 1960s. But then I came across this vintage ad for the store.
Hello there.
This is made to look like a letter from Santa, and invites kids to ride the Rocket Express monorail. This ad is apparently from 1946, which
Kinda
confirms the
weird
Boston
weird
store ride
advertising,
as one of the
honestly.
first to open. And since we know it was still there in the 1960s, that means it lasted for at least 20 years. Speaking of Milwaukee, multiple people have also recalled a monorail at the nearby Gimbel's department store.
Gimbal.
I haven't personally found any evidence to support this, and there seems to be some question whether they're actually remembering the ride at Boston store. Since the stores were only a few blocks from each other, it's reasonable to assume that those memories could blend together.
That's close to
So
the
without
date
any
Miku
firm
made
evidence,
Roblox.
I'm going to leave Gimbel's.
I can't believe Miku made Roblox in
The
1946.
next monorail opened in Baltimore, Maryland in the following Christmas season of 1947.
During Christmas.
This one was at Stewart's department store, and similar to the others, it was named the Rocket Express and ran
9
above the toy
cents.
department.
Oh, that's pretty good.
There's very little information on it.
9 cents a
But in
ride?
this case, we actually know why. Nearly 20 years later, someone involved with the project said, "It was attracting too many kids. Stewart's paid off our contract and asked us to remove it. Their elevators and escalators just didn't have the capacity to handle the additional load." So the Baltimore ride
It was too
apparently so
popular.
that it was removed almost immediately.
Too popular, we had to shut it
The next
down.
ride to open was in Newark, New Jersey in 1948. This one was at the Kresge Newark department store and ran above the 2nd floor toy department. Similar to the ride in Philadelphia, this one was given the rocket treatment sometime in the 1950s. It's unclear how long this ride lasted, but there's evidence of it at least through 1956. In
That doll is
1949,
kinda creepy.
another monorail debuted in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This one opened on the 4th floor Toyland of Donaldson's department store, and lasted at least as late as 1960. A ride on the monorail only cost 9 cents. To put that in
Wow.
perspective, you could either
How
let
much
your
is
kid
that?
ride it 66 times, or for the same money you could buy them this life-size undressed baby doll. Which Christmas memory do you think they would want? Another monorail opened at Herpelsheimer's department store in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
In what department store?
This one debuted as Santa's Rocket Express in 1949. In 1976, it was rethemed completely as the Caterpillar Express. Because, let's face it, your kids were going to be able to sleep on Christmas Eve anyway.
Yeah.
At some point, the ride also
No.
had this train-like design. I think in the 1980s.
It's a
But in the
monorail, not a
1990s,
train. It's
it
the
changed
opposite.
One more time to the Dino Express.
What?
The ride was finally retired in 2000 and donated to the Grand Rapids Public Museum.
Just
The
2000?
vehicles
Dang.
were restored to
Okay.
their original 1949 appearance, and are now displayed at the museum every year during the holidays.
They look cute.
Another monorail opened in Manhattan, New York in 1949, and was the second to be operated by the Wanamaker's department store chain. The ride operated over the Toyland displays on the second floor, and lasted at least through 1951. A fourth monorail in 1949 opened in Fort Worth, Texas at Leonard's department store.
Hey,
the ride was
everyone very excited about monorails back then? This is kind of a lot.
There's evidence of the ride lasting at least through 1954.
Like, one of these rides ended in 2000.
I look back now, and it wasn't but a few feet above the shop.
It was a novelty. I mean, to be honest,
back then,
monorails are still a novelty, so.
Some of the kids threw popcorn and pennies at the shoppers. Others just
monorails with hyperloop.
So Leonard's put a wire screen on the windows. So that wraps up the first batch of rides that were opened in the 1940s.
Much like
we keep going, let's shift our attention to a question we haven't asked yet.
Much like hyperloops,
building these rides in
these also took kids for a ride. Oh god.
There's very little information to go on here, but most modern sources credit the Loudon Machinery Company as the builder of these rides. Historically, William Loudon invented a hay carrier in 1867 that used a monorail track to efficiently stack hay bales.
You gotta like spend
with this and many other patents,
like $2 ride the 50 mechanic
became a major name in American farm equipment and barn construction. By World War I, Loudon's industrial monorail system was put to extensive use in factories, and this soon became the company's main focus.
Monorail
At the end of
company.
World War II, Loudon monorails had become an essential part of American manufacturing.
Oh.
As the story goes, Loudon repurposed their track system for kiddie rides after the end of the war. We know the Christmas monorail started appearing in 1946, so the timing certainly checks out. But the answer isn't quite that simple. See, in 1950, the next known kiddie monorail was built in Fairyland Park in Lyons, Illinois. I haven't been able to dig up any photos of the ride itself, or any clues about how long it was there.
Fairyland.
But it was announced in an article in the Billboard, which said,
That's cute.
Clinton Clark, owner of Rocket Express Systems Inc., Oak Park, Illinois, directed erection of this ride. He said similar models had been used previously in several department stores during the holidays, but that the Miller Park was the first to have an outdoor model. There's no mistaking this is the right company, as the Rocket Express name was used on many of the rides themselves. Historian Jeff Clemens elaborates on this, writing, a former employee of Milwaukee's Boston store, Clark had gotten the idea for the ride from the Boston store's president, who suggested making a train ride that would be elevated above the store's display cases in order to conserve and free up floor and wall space.
Wait, what?
It seems Clark took the idea so seriously that he left to start Rocket Express.
No, and
then signed on his
the monorail's for fun.
First customers in 1946.
I don't understand. It's just for entertainment.
Regarding the Loudon theory, the Mosdom Barnes Preservation Committee writes, web searches uncovered newspaper reports about this monorail, where it was called the Loudon Supertrack monorail. Other web pages also mentioned Loudon. However, when questioned, some ex-employees who had worked at Loudon in the 1940s and 1950s said that they did not remember any passenger-carrying monorails being built by Loudon, raising the question of the accuracy of the newspaper reports. So if Loudon wasn't the builder, why do so many sources claim this was the case? There's actually a little more to this story, but for now let's put a pin in that, as we still have a lot of rides to get through.
Oh my god, we're not done with the monorails.
Okay, so the next monorail in our list opened at Edwards Department Store in Syracuse, New York.
I can't believe there were so many of these things.
Running, but I found mentions of it as early as 1955.
Like, it was just like, you go to the mall and ride on the monorail for fun?
And was given the streamlined rocket.
This is what it seems like.
A former president of the store later recalled, a lot of
kind of scary though. I'm scared of heights.
As one of the great
it brought people in, yeah, true. But also, it's the mall in the 50s.
And go up on the monorail.
No one had anything to do to begin with.
The last ads
they didn't even have a television.
But Edwards was demolished just 3 years later.
I was excited seeing the model Christmas train. I do enjoy the model Christmas trains though. I miss those. I think I had one.
The ride debuted at Rich's Department Store in Atlanta, Georgia. Most modern sources claim that it opened in 1953, but historian Jeff Clemens writes that it debuted on October 13th, 1956. My own research agrees with this.
I can't believe we haven't even hit, like, the 60s yet.
Either way, it debuted as the Snowball Express and ran above the store's toy department. But a few years later, in 1959, it was completely rethemed to the Pink Pig Flyer, with the pig herself later named Priscilla.
What?
Riches sold the ride in 1960.
People have weird ideas of what's
Public outcry from
aesthetically
locals,
pleasing for
it was
kids.
brought back the following year. With the store now being remodeled, though, Priscilla was moved to the 7th floor roof. A second ride vehicle named Percival was added, so they became known as the Pink Pig Twins.
Okay.
The ride was eventually donated to the Atlanta History Center in 1996.
Kids love bacon, or I mean,
Tradition was
yes?
carried on by a new kiddie train for many years, but now even this version has been retired. Fortunately, the original Priscilla and Percival are still
What
preserved
in the
today,
fresh
and are
hell?
often put on display during the holidays.
That's
The
modern
next
art of
known
that.
ride opened at Curvin's department store in Columbus, Georgia.
Not gonna lie, that was giving me
only
some
found
like
2
Mr.
mentions
Blobby
of it, both
vibes,
in
and I can't believe we stooped this low as
We do have this
Americans.
illustration and the Rocket Express name to confirm this was indeed part of the same family. Also in 1958 was a new monorail.
Wait,
at
do you
Hardee's
guys
department
know about
store in
Mr.
Tennessee.
Blobby? Please say no.
This one ran above Toy City on the.
If you
building's
say yes, we're gonna have to watch
and
we're gonna have to
operated
watch a
for
video
at
about
least
Mr. Blobby.
1960. Closing out the 1950s was a new monorail in Portland, Oregon, which opened at the Meyer and Frank department
Not
store
going
in
to say yes
1959. This one was called the Skyliner monorail for most of its run, but in the later years, it was renamed to the Santaland monorail. As one person later recalled, I rode the Meyer and Frank monorail as a small child in the 60s. It was only a fuzzy memory when I was an adult living in another state. So
Joke's on
imagine
you
my
all, we're
joy
going to watch a
rediscovering
Mr.
it on a
Blobby
visit to
video.
Portland in the late 80s when my own children were small. I was beginning to wonder if I had imagined it. With the impending closure of Meyer and Frank, the monorail's final season was in 2005, ending a local Christmas tradition that had lasted for over 40 years.
These things lasted until the
The monorail's
2000s?
metal car is preserved by the Oregon Historical Society and remains in storage.
Oh my god.
The front car is preserved by the Portland Business Alliance and is often put on display at Pioneer Place Mall during the holidays.
It looks very
5
cute.
years after the Portland ride opened, the next one appeared in St. Louis, Missouri in 1964. This was installed at Sticks, Bear, and Fuller's department store, where it ran above the toy department on the 5th floor. I find it interesting that they advertised the ride as the first of its kind in the Midwest, which by this point I think we can safely say is incorrect. Apparently the ride was popular though,
Goodness.
because in the following year, Sticks, Bear, and Fuller added a second one to their nearby store in Jennings. By 1968, both rides were rethemed as the Gumdrop Express. But I
Okay,
saw
that doesn't
no
look
mention of them at this
terrifying.
point. Next
That
up
looks
is
kinda
Pittsburgh,
normal.
Pennsylvania, which actually had 2 monorails.
Yo, Pittsburgh.
The first was at
Got
Gimbel's
lucky.
department store, which debuted the ride as the Lilac Special on May 1st, 1965. Throughout the year, it operated on Saturdays, until the arrival of the Christmas season, when it was rethemed as Rudolph.
Okay, at least the
Version returned
retheming
for
made
the
sense.
1966 holiday season, but I didn't find any traces of it after that. A couple years later, in 1968, the second Pittsburgh ride was installed at Northway Mall. It was supposed to have its opening ceremony on November 12th, but the equipment actually got lost in transit. The Berwick Enterprise
It got
wrote,
lost.
"The monorail cars and tracks."
By the way, the new
being
Slow
shipped from
Spectator
Fairfield,
event, I saw it. It was about
Pittsburgh
ARM
trains were
processors.
lost in transit. Officials at the shopping center said the ribbon cutting ceremonies will be held November 22nd.
Rudolph
if they
the
find a train.
Red-Nosed Mechanical Horror
Fortunately, the shipment was found.
had a
The
very
next ceremony
shiny
took
nose.
place on November
Jess, why did you
22nd.
post Mr. Blobby in the Discord?
It seems the ride was only at Northway Mall.
Jess, why did you post Mr. Blobby in the
If it seems
Discord?
short, it's because the
I'm
Rocket
gonna
Express
fight
Company
you.
had started leasing the
I hate
monorails as
him.
seasonal installations. This was following the new
I
trend of
hate
shopping
you.
malls, which seemed to want more flexibility in how they use their.
We're gonna watch Mr. No, we're watching Mr. Blobby videos, and now you're gonna suffer. This is your fault. This is your fault. Is there literally a video about who the hell is Mr. Blobby? Actually, I need to find this out. What do you mean he has a YouTube channel? What do you mean Mr. Blobby had an Okay, hold on. We're watching this.
We've been trying for some time on this programme to go a bit more highbrow, more intellectual. So I'm not really sure how our next guest really fits into that. He's not normally known as a big thinker, more crinkly bottom. But Mr. Blobby did go on to become one of the UK's best known faces in the 1990s. He was star of Noel's House Party here in the UK. He even had a #1 Christmas hit in 1993 called Mr. Blobby. And since then he's been somewhat of a recluse, but it is panto season here in the UK. Oh yes it is. And this year Mr. Blobby is making an unlikely comeback at the Chrysalis Theatre in Milton Keynes as Peter Pan, or in Peter Pan. And a little earlier, somehow he found his way into the building to tell me all about it. I said to the producers, I said, get me someone big. And it's fair to say,
I have seen this character. I just didn't know his name.
You in mind.
I mean,
are we absolutely sure that he got through security properly? Is he allowed to be here? Hello, we don't get many guests in the studio.
why does he talk like that? I've never heard him talk.
Is it really 20 years since you were top of the hit parade?
Oh, blobby, 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 blobby.
Oh.
Blobby, 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 blobby. Yeah, blob, blob, blobby.
20 years. You don't even seem to have aged a year. You look just the same. And now you're in pantomime in Milton Keynes at the Chrysalis Theatre. Right. Well, I suppose it's good that you're back for pantomime, because a lot of people have
Oh, you don't know the true word? What do you mean? He's very much speaking right now. Became a recluse after his theme park business closed down.
Is he allowed on the set?
Did they really?
You make me nervous. Go back on the catwalk. You're not even allowed to be in this building. You've got to behave yourself. Back on the catwalk. Now,
why does he have the weird voice changer?
Do you get nervous when you're on live performances? Do you get nervous? I mean, what would you say you are?
Why does he have a voice changer?
We spent the
Why do iconic British characters have voice changers?
spirit.
It's Mr. Blobby and the Daleks, guys. What is going on? Although, I do secretly wish that he was a newscaster for the BBC. That'd be very funny. Did he just shove biscuits in the guy's eyes?
Well, I guess that's all the mince pie's gone.
He did.
Best of luck, Mr. Blobby.
Shove them in his face. Okay. Why do they sound like they're possessed? I could not possibly explain.
That was the end of a fine journalistic career. The good news is we did get the mince pies out of the equipment. The bad news, actually, is that for those looking forward to seeing Mr. Blobby in pantomime, which is a big tradition here in the UK, they're going to have to wait just a few more weeks. The production, like many others over the Christmas period, has suddenly been postponed temporarily in light of the COVID resurgence. But you'll only have
to be honest, that was actually very good journalism from the BBC. Why is there so many of these? Like, why? Okay, anyway, hold on. I need to find the music, the Christmas song, so... Mind you, this was #1 on the UK singles charts for Christmas in 1993. I may have posted that. Delete. It doesn't matter if you post it in the Discord or not. It's too late. We are listening to Mr. Blobby's music video.
5, 4, 3, ignition.
Is that Jeremy Clarkson? I did not know he was in the video. Oh my god. I don't like these lyrics, dude. No! No, you can't do this to my favorite robot. You can't do that! I get the impression he just pisses everybody off. Here's the thing, though. He was popular. Kids liked him.
No hill too high, no desert too dry, no road too long, no tide too strong, no bridge too far, he's got a car. No slope too steep, no thought too deep, no star too bright, no squeeze too tight, no tail too tall, no cat too cool, no base too low, he'll give it up. What? No end to his talents, no sense of balance.
Hey, can I admit that I've never actually seen the full video about this? I've only heard clips. So this is my own fault now that I'm listening to this. I blobbied myself, you're right, I did. Retweet this to totally blobby your friends. Why'd I do this to myself? Like, is the intent of him just that he fucks everything up? Oh no, why are they doing halftime? Oh god, there's two of them. What a douche! No! See, look, kids liked him. Was it a slapstick humor thing? Oh god, he is a mohawk. Man, I don't know why I did that to myself. Also, seriously, the lyric of your influence will spread across the land, it just turns into a weird cult, and I get very worried. Okay, so cameos that I recognized. What was it? Jeremy Clarkson and my favorite BattleBots host ever. I hate this. I hate the UK. I hate the UK. You know what? We're gonna move on. Why did I take on this? Why did I do this to myself? Jess, why did you? We're gonna. Okay. I think this is gonna be the last video for today. So I'm sorry we're super behind, but we will get through this backlog because y'all keep watching these. Calcium told me to go on a tangent. Yeah, you're right. Okay, here's this one. Is the scandals of silly bands. Because you remember silly bands, right? Y'all remember silly bands? I had a silly bands.
You ever looked at a rubber band ball and thought, I really want to buy that, but I don't have a use for it? I mean, a person only has so many things that need to be held together by a rubber band. What are you going to do with
sanity.
Hundreds of them? Well, if you were anyone who was anyone in 2010, you bought those rubber bands anyway, except you bought them in colorful, overpriced packs of 12 and slowly amassed your own rubber band ball at home that you called your Silly Bands collection.
Let's go.
Silly Bands first officially came about in 2009 after Robert Croak, distributor of the infamous Livestrong bands, saw someone else make them first.
Mr. Blobby is what happens if you don't have any calcium. I'm gonna drink my milk every single goddamn day.
To discourage people from throwing them away so frequently and increase sustainability, calling them animal rubber bands. Robert saw this idea on a business trip, decided the bands were pretty poorly made and didn't really resemble animals very closely, and then made his own version years later.
They looked cute.
This new idea, though, wasn't about the sustainability of
Scotland, she shares the suffering to all.
Silly bands were made of silicone instead of rubber.
See, this is why the British influence on Scotland is bad.
As a wearable accessory. No matter how you wore them, stretched them, or shaped them,
Scottish
Silly Bands
independence
would always snap back to their original shape. It didn't take long for silly bands to take off, gaining popularity by 2010 for their cute designs as statement pieces. There were silly bands for everything, from baseball to Arctic animals, princesses to rock and roll, Christmas to the original animal rubber
You know
bands
what else
designs
put
that
Scottish
Robert
independence
Crowe
off? Wow.
criticized.
True.
No, that must just be my imagination. The bracelets
Part of her
became so
castle,
popular that
she has a castle?
licensed silly bands were eventually made of popular franchises, including such 2010 classics as Angry Birds, iCarly, and Farmville. Even a couple of
iCarly, baby.
Kardashians and Justin Bieber collaborating to create their own exclusive packs.
Justin Bieber silly bands is the most 2010s thing you could probably guess,
were
actually.
Princess, Rock, and Hello Kitty packs. The brand had such success.
Oh, the Hello
that
Kitty
more
ones look good.
accessories like rings, necklaces, and even stickers were put out
Wait.
into the world. What's your favorite
Silly bands necklaces? Isn't that just the silly? Isn't that just the silly? Hold on.
even
Silly bands necklaces. That's just. That is just a bracelet. Silly bands were already bracelets. If you're ever doing Endurance 24 hours, you'd be watching all the Quentin reviews of iCarly verse. Is there? I feel like that's more than 24 hours worth of content, but I will consider it. Thank you for making me think about that.
stickers were put out into the world. What's your favorite silly band? Oh, my favorite is shaped like a crab.
Silly
I
crab.
don't like the bracelet. I only like the sticker of the bracelet.
Oh.
Rip-off brands like
Meta.
logo bands, zany bands, and googly
Okay.
bands were popping up everywhere to try and cash in on the sudden success. Given
Huh.
that they were marketed towards kids, it's no wonder
These
that
are all
tons
good
of children
genders.
were
Honestly, all these rubber bands are pretty
silly
good
bands
genders,
just
yeah.
couldn't get enough.
What's your favorite gender?
Plenty of middle and elementary
Mine's the
school
iCarly
little
gender.
Kids trying to shove their boring baseball silly bands off onto some unsuspecting kid, trading for something way cooler and rarer. Now, I don't remember the silly band craze overly well, but I do remember that it just sort of appeared out of nowhere. And given that packs were relatively cheap compared to other
I also
toys and trends,
don't remember
pretty
where
much
these
every
came
kid had
from.
them. They infiltrated my school so
I had
quickly
one
that it
silly
was hard
band
to
and
keep
then I
up with
broke
the silly
it.
band's
And that's
trading
all I know about silly bands, and I feel
when I
bad.
think about it, though, I don't think they're actually.
In my day, we
nice, and
traded
agree upon
Pogs and
value for
X-Men
certain silly
cards.
bands over others.
People still trade
Glow in the
Pogs.
dark and glittery
X-Men
bands were
cards?
popular, but were they
Probably.
actually harder to find? Did I trade
Ooh.
half of my collection for the super rare man rocking out on guitar silly band that I also could have just?
Wait,
bought
those are
at the
Beanie
local
Baby
Walgreens
silly
for
bands in there.
$4? Though
Oh,
just making
shoot.
stuff up and cheating someone else out of a valuable item has been around since kids' collectible toys were first introduced. Probably since some children in the Middle Ages were trading sticks and little Emmeline told Beatrice that her stick was worth way more than those other flimsy toys.
Back in my day, it was Crazy Bones. and
Trading
Pokemon.
became so popular
I
that
lived
at a
through
lot of schools,
Pogs,
silly bands were eventually silly
Crazy
banned
Bones, and
for their
Pokemon
controversy,
cards.
causing arguments
Oh, and
over
silly
trading
bands.
deals, collections getting mixed up or lost, and just
Those are the ones I at least had
general
investment in.
distraction. I remember the day that announcement was made.
I
in
still
my
like
own
Crazy
school,
Bones
and
because they were just kind of funny,
disappointed that my
hard
dozens of
rocks I
silly
could throw
bands,
against things.
This new trendy item that was pretty much only good for showing
Oh,
off
entire
to other
electronics.
people,
Okay, fair.
now wasn't even allowed in the main place I frequented as an 11-year-old.
Oh, look, silly bands being banned.
Bring your silly bands to school, though. How could you get your fix? By playing with the next best.
Why live?
Your virtual silly bands in the coveted video game titled simply Silly Bands for the Nintendo DS. Released in 2011, Silly Bands the video game was published by Zoo Games, now named Indie Pub, who also published renowned classics such as Chicken Blaster and Eminem's Beach Party.
This game blows.
The game functioned as an Angry Birds clone, except everything about it was worse. I guess it didn't set up players to expect much when its
I remember
tagline was
school
just
art saying metal flippers
play
are
the
banned for
craze.
cheating.
A pack of exclusive video games.
Well, yeah,
from
because you
Silly
can
Bands
slam them
was included
harder,
with the game,
and they would,
which
and more
was
pogs would come
probably
up.
its main
That is
selling
cheating.
point. Another game titled Silly
Unless
Bands
both
the
of you
Video
had
Game
metal
was also
flippers.
released for mobile devices.
Actually, real talk. Who in the world actually knows how to play pogs? I don't. I never did. I had a ton of them. I just like slamming them against each other and only played by myself. How do you play pogs?
And
Is there a virtual version of pogs that we can play and stream?
played a lot
Hold
with
on.
those mobile games.
My ADHD is kicking in. I need to do this now. We're getting somewhere. because it was the first result. Please don't be an NFT scam. God damn it! No! No! Pog NFTs. No! There's a Bored Aper! No! Pogger coin. Pogger coin! No, I just want actual Pogs. Hold on. Pogs return as an augmented reality mobile game. We're getting close. Scanning Pog. Okay, it's an AR Pog game. It was on Indiegogo. Okay. Why is there not a online Pog game of some kind that isn't an NFT? Oh shoot! Hold up. Custom Pogs. Hold up. Hey, I just had an idea for limited edition merch. I just had an idea for limited edition merch, guys. Yo. Oh. There are... Guys, there are no Ooh, Nintendo Pog. Oh, these are custom Pogs. Dang it. Pogs carry... Hold on. Pogs carrying case. That's a film canister, but like stretched. It's a long boy. Look at this. Man, imagine Pogs beat out Yu-Gi-Oh as like a popular game, and then they have like anime where it's like, I have 7 decks of Pogs, and it's just a huge long boy, like 7 long tube boys. How long is the tall one? $30. Then you flick your flip. Yeah. Heck yeah. Okay. So. Yo, Froggy Chair Pog. Okay, you know what? I think I'm onto something. And I'm not stealing. I'm not having people steal my idea. I want limited edition Alma Hexblade Pogs on my desk for like my 4th streaming anniversary, because no one else has done that, I bet you.
You see in all the weird ads everywhere now. The ad for the game claimed that you would join Stella the puppy in a silly...
You just DM'd me a long cool boy thing.
See anything to do with her in the gameplay it shows, so that's kind of a letdown. Despite producing such quality games, it doesn't seem like anything could stop the fall.
Those are long boys.
Just as quickly
Thank
as
you for
been
posting
bought out of stock from every retailer.
Someone's trying to make a teletext VTuber?
The fast fashion trend of silly bands developed into nothing more than an early 2010s memory.
Oh,
I remember finding my own collection after years of them not being touched, all tangled together in a big colorful mess, and donating them to a local garage sale or something. I hate to think it, but I was probably among the few people that even bothered donating. Despite the intention of the original design
Pogs are just trading cards you throw at each other.
I have a feeling once they weren't
hold up. If you're throwing the Pogs at people, you are not operating the Pog correctly.
Them years later like I did. So much for encouraged sustainability. It's not like Silly Bands is to blame for its fall into obscurity though, right? Such is the life cycle of any trend. They come, they go, they die. Or
Prize weapon
so we
Pogs.
thought?
Well, Pogs are in the same form factor as those funny disc-shaped launcher things we had as kids.
Asking,
oh yeah.
Does anyone remember Silly Bands? Which, of
weird
course,
marketing.
Unless you were living under a rock, you probably do. nostalgia bait isn't anything new. It plays to people's nostalgia for likes and views, making memes or other content revolving around sentimental things from days gone by. According to the About section on the official Silly Band's website, and an article posted to the blog section
Hold on,
of
I
the
want to
same
be
site,
ironic.
Silly Bands
I
are
want to be
officially
really ironic.
gaining
Hold on.
popularity again. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that social media has brought old trends back into style. But what if most of the people talking about Silly Bands aren't actually reminiscing, but trying to restart the brand themselves? The earliest TikTok on the official Silly Bands business account, Silly Bands Online, was made back in November 2019. I don't really get it, but harmless content, right? Since this first TikTok, the Silly Bands Online account has posted over 1,000 videos, all about Silly Bands. And it's not just nostalgia bait that's being posted, but pretty much any kind of video to be made that can somehow incorporate the bracelets.
Too much bait.
Among obvious promotional videos and giveaways, there's also ASMR.
For Silly Bands?
Cooking recipes. Send this to your crush memes, dog videos, oddly satisfying videos, the list goes on. There are some real standouts among their hundreds of videos though. There's a Silly series, which follows two of the self-proclaimed Silly Bands girls as they go to different public stores and try to trade Silly Bands for something free.
You guys trade Silly Bands for freezes? Will you trade me a freeze for Silly Bands?
The secondhand embarrassment I get out of this is immense. Also,
Have a good one. Yeah, baby! Free freezes! Let's go. And
What?
here's another one for free, so.
how did you do that?
Yeah, this series is Silly Girls.
Definitely.
I think you mean it in a different way.
Definitely true and
In
good.
most of the videos, as you might expect, the already poorly paid workers that have to put up with this aren't really interested in dealing with the Silly Bands girls, especially when they notice that they're filming. Some of the employees just give in, seemingly to get these people out of their line, or because, as this Silly Bands boy puts it, she was too scared to tell me no. In some of the other videos, and I hate that they did so many of these, it seems like they probably told the workers what they were doing in advance and staged the video for better content.
Oh, please, I'd
The
hope
worst
so.
part of this Silly series is that the creators actually challenged other TikTok users to do it themselves, calling it a challenge to harass minimum wage workers and beg for free stuff. Apparently, if you participated in the challenge, you could win cash prizes, Annie Energy, an energy drink partner with the company, or rare Silly Bands.
No.
Totally worth
bad.
ruining some poor fast food worker's day. Fortunately, when searching under their Silly Series hashtag, the only videos of people doing the challenge were from the Silly Bands account themselves, with just one video that was apparently done by a fan that's also clearly staged. Although I think the Silly Series might be some of the cringiest videos on the account, there are definitely some runners-up. Take this video where a grown man narrates a Pikachu doll for some kind of Silly Bands content.
They didn't come to everyone just more or less a jailbreak. Just pretend to be a person. Yeah, that too.
Pika, 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 Pika! You don't have any Silly Bands! Pika? Pikachu!
These young girls being told to say that their hands are ugly until they wear Silly Bands, which is just wrong for a lot of reasons. And multiple videos showing how easily broken Silly Bands are, again, under the guise of being relatable. And again, this just makes me feel sad for the original Animal Rubber Bands creators who just wanted people to stop treating rubber bands as disposable. Instead, they ended up fueling corporate greed through a stolen idea that's easily breakable and designed to be a fad that ends up getting thrown in the trash. There's even a few videos about how relatable it is to want to wear so many Silly Bands that it cuts off the circulation to your hands, which, aside from not being relatable at all, is just blatantly glossing over the fact that there was a case where a 4-year-old
Yeah, that
was wearing
happened,
so
right?
many Silly Bands that they made his hand swell, cut into his skin, and caused him to bleed.
Oh my.
I'm not saying that the Silly Bands team is directly to blame for this, but considering that this kid was probably not the only case of this happening, I just find it kind of icky to turn this into relatable content. What's arguably even worse than the cutting off your circulation jokes, though, is this video posted in October of 2020.
There's a new virus going around, and I think I already have it. I have like all the symptoms. It's called SBS, Silly Bands Syndrome. This is pandemic, and there's no cure.
Oh no!
I guess if I'm gonna die.
Nope, there goes the online account. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's pretty bad. Obviously, the video is just cringy in general, but
Ugh.
I'm sure I don't need to get into why it's gross.
I cringed to death.
Band syndrome to a virus that even this girl herself acknowledged as deadly. And I'm also sure that plenty of people made tons of jokes
I cringed
pretty similar
and
to
died.
this, and if you really wanted to reach, you could even
I'm dead
say
now.
that this is how some people coped with the stress of 2020.
I mean, same, but also I just stayed inside and didn't. I don't.
I just don't find it appropriate at all, though, for a brand to be posting this as a way to try to garner success and revive a product that already fell out of relevancy a decade ago. So, cringy TikToks aside, what else is Silly Bands doing as a brand to try and fuel their own revival? Well, for starters, getting influencers to become affiliates so they can create even more TikToks for them. Once making a purchase, only then will you be prompted to be able to register as an affiliate. You won't get free Silly Bands unless you already have at least 50k followers, if that's what you're after, but you can earn up to 14% through commission on each sale. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know anything about business deals and public relations.
What?
But isn't 14% kind of a weirdly specific
What if I was sponsored, guys? By Silly Bands.
number? Like, why 14? Also, 14% of the cost of a regular pack of Silly Bands is only 55 cents, so do with that information what you will. In addition to searching for affiliates, Silly Bands has already partnered with a group of influencers in yet another attempt to revive the brand. Sway House, a team of teenage boys that make quality TikTok content, quote, made a big investment in Silly Bands, making it their first stake in a company acquired as an investing group. With an official stake in the brand, which for online non-entrepreneurial types like myself, basically means that they own a percentage of the company, this seems like the perfect way to market towards a younger audience, especially fans of the Sway Boys. Oh, well, that's not good. For all my
I don't even know who these
non-entrepreneurial types
people
out
are.
there, I don't really know what this means for their partnership.
Which Silly
What I do know,
Bands?
though, is that
I feel like if I put, I feel like that's part of my aesthetic already. I feel like I'd be
Silly
one who
Bands
does that.
have not taken off again, despite what Robert and his Silly Bands girls would have you believe. So maybe the Sway House deal didn't pan out how they expected it to, and maybe all of their TikToking isn't gaining them as many views as they thought it would either. There's still one surefire way to make money, promote the brand, and that everyone will love. Do like a charity partnership or something? No, stupid. Make a Silly Bands NFT. In January of 2022, Robert Croak, infamous Silly Bands creator, announced the launch of Silly Bands NFT.
Look at him be so, pretend to be so,
Silly Bands
so cool.
as well as an accessory and a custom background. With the purchase of an NFT, you'll also get benefits like free Silly Bands, free shipping on Silly Bands purchases, and eventually Metaverse wearables functionality.
Metaverse Silly Bands! This is the Ready Player One of hell. It's like Ready Player One. They never imagined it being this bad.
That every NFT was painstakingly thought out and designed by our in-house creative team with rarity and collectability in mind.
It's a...
Yeah, I can see the
Their
painstaking
outlines.
creativity in this plankton from SpongeBob silhouette. As Silly Bands grow in worldwide popularity and the exclusivity of this small collection reaches the masses, it will surely drive up the desirability and prices. There they go again, self-proclaiming their supposed growing popularity. I think Robert watched too many manifesting tutorials while he was busy on TikTok. From their FAQ, it seems like the price ranges from what is currently $87 to $100 worth of cryptocurrency. I don't know anything about NFTs except that they make me feel like I need to go wash my hands, so let me know if that seems like a good price for Plankton. Speaking of Robert being busy on TikTok,
Plankton.
I feel like
More
this
like
is a
silly
good time to touch on
bads.
his
Also
own
true.
personal TikTok account that's filled with classic entrepreneur posts giving financial advice, tips on how to become wealthy that
Oh, here we
don't
go.
include selling a viral phenomenon, and calling out Elon Musk directly for manipulating the market. Should we tell him that the app doesn't work and Elon isn't listening? I'm a long way from Silly Band's TikTok. So, are Silly Bands making a comeback? If you ask Robert and the Silly Bands girls, of course they are, and you should buy ASAP. If you ask pretty much anyone else, no? I do scroll past the occasional non-sponsored, non-branded, nostalgic Silly Bands post, but I also see those for things like that green ketchup they used to make, and I don't think that means that people want it back or that it'll be in stores again soon.
Green ketchup.
Robert Croak seems to be just another money-hungry entrepreneur type that thinks they can relive their best invention, dates younger women, and is grumpy with Elon Musk. He really believes with enough forced promotion and harassment of fast food employees that Silly Bands will make a comeback, despite the fact that he mostly just got lucky with the idea.
It's just like some
But
silicone
obviously,
bands,
I'm
dude.
just a simple consumer, so don't take my word for it. If NFT Silly Bands Plankton, I can't believe that's a coherent phrase, ends up taking off, then I guess I'll see you in the metaverse, or whatever.
Hey, do they... I'm actually... Hold on. I'm deadly curious. Is that still a thing? How much is it? How much are they? Did they even make these? I mean, I'm kind of worried about the environment. I mean, yeah, that's true. Well, there goes that. SillyBandsNFT.com is not even up anymore. So I'm very scared if I click this Discord server, it will... The Discord server is gone. Hey, okay, cool. Burn. Good. Good. Anyway. I think that's everything we're gonna do today. Because I need to sleepy. Justice, yes. Death. What are we talking about? We were talking about how NFTs are bad and Silly Bands are bad. Well, they used to be. Anyway. Thank you guys for tuning in. I very much appreciate it. So, let's see if we can who we can raid. Let's see who we can raid while I get the music back up. So, this could be end of my stream schedule for the week. Of course, I will be back Tuesday. Let's see who we can send you guys over to. Another games up to Big Boss. We'll talk about Solid Snake and it's really funny. Nice. Who do I have? Who do we got? Oh, you know what? Yes. Let us send you over to Lemma. We like Lemma. I can send you guys to Lemma, a very cuddly and soft robot. Give you guys the mature warning, of course, before you go. Make sure you guys save before you go. Have a wonderful rest of your day. No stream message. Just be nice. Bye-bye.